ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on CoreTV News on the hour. I am Ebundomo Adekunle. Nigeria's health authorities have announced that 4 additional Ebola patients have been cleared to go home from the Lagos Treatment Center. This brings to 5 the number of Ebola-positive Nigerians that have been discharged from quarantine. Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Jide Idris, announced that the 4 individuals who were down with the virus disease are now disease-free and have been discharged.
You have to be symptoms-free for at least 3 days. And that's how that last one was discharged. That's why he was discharged. Now we have 4 more. Today, they were ready for discharge based on the same protocol. That is, they've been symptoms-free for at least 3 days, and they've had their blood checked. They have now tested negative for Ebola virus.
Meanwhile, before the successful treatment of 5 Ebola patients in Lagos, not many Nigerians showed enough confidence in the capacity of local hospitals to manage the disease. This was the result of a survey conducted by NOI polls on the perception of Nigerians on Ebola. The poll results made available to CoreTV News in Abuja showed that 7 out of 10 adult Nigerians are not confident in the capacity of local hospitals to provide needed care. It also revealed that 82% of those polled are more concerned about Ebola than other infectious diseases like HIV and AIDS and hepatitis. The poll was conducted before the revelation that 4 more Ebola patients have been successfully treated and cleared to go home. The United Nations has launched a supplementary appeal for $18 million in its fight against the Ebola virus in Sierra Leone. The representative of United Nations in Sierra Leone, David McLachlan, who addressed a joint press conference with the Sierra Leonean Health Minister, Miata Kagbo, and an Ebola survivor, say it is to supplement funds already raised for the fight against the virus in the country.
This morning, the United Nations issued a supplemental emergency response appeal for the Ebola situation in Sierra Leone. The appeal total is $18.13 million.
We need the 18 million funds. We need it to come to address issues like contact tracing, address issues of case management and treatment centers, address issue of food supplement for isolated districts and also quarantine homes. The patient that escaped from Connaught Hospital actually has been identified and captured, and that patient has been conveyed to the treatment center in Kenema. He was Ebola positive.
The sack of doctors by the federal government has not ceased to generate reactions. The dismissal was unanimously condemned by resident doctors in Osogbo, the Osun State capital. They also fault the lack of preparedness of governments to fight the Ebola scourge. Rashid has details.
The situation is bad already as doctors and the federal government engage in an industrial face-off. Then the deadly Ebola virus was imported into the country. Many Nigerians were hoping that the need to give the Ebola virus the much-needed attention it deserves will make the government and the doctors quickly resolve their differences. But the result was contrary as the federal government announced the sack of over 16,000 resident doctors in its employment and the suspension of residency program in all hospitals across the federation. Consultants and resident doctors at Lautech Teaching Hospital Osogbo described the federal government's move as an expensive joke and a grand plot to break the ranks of the medical association.
Strike
is being constituted by NMA, and NMA as a body is all doctors. And just picking on the resident doctors, we are more proactive when it comes to decision making, and I think maybe it's just to weaken the strike.
April Fool coming up in August. For a government to wake up overnight and say that is sacking 16,000 out of the workforce of doctors.
The doctors went further to say the government's move has reduced the medical profession to the lowest ebb.
A consultant to see special cases, yes. This is not just about treating people for malaria. It's about when I retire or if I'm incapacitated, who will be there to do that specialist job.
Like somebody waking up and say, okay, I want to stop the law school. Once you graduate as a lawyer, you just go to the field. It's like saying, okay, from recruit upwards in the Nigerian Defense Academy, please, you are stopping there. We are not. So what is the purpose of professionalism?
Suspending residency program and resident doctors, according to these medical practitioners, is not unconnected with the leadership tussle experienced in the NMA and other health unions.
Have a family, you are going to have your wife is a master, the husband is a master, and if you have 3 wives or 4 wives, so that means you have 4 masters, including the husband, making 5 masters. Of course, there will be chaos in that house.
We are not against the fact that we want people to climb up the ladder of their profession. Everybody can get to the peak of their profession. But on the other hand, of people wanting to head facilities where doctors should head, and that's where we frown at.
The doctors are asking for improved condition of service.
Our hazard allowance is as low as 5,000. I know of people who will tell you that, is this Ebola? I will rather resign from this job than go and take up Ebola. The strike was even a blessing in disguise, because by today, we will be counting the number of health workers that would have been lost.
A good nation should prepare ahead. It's not when Ebola is now here, we're now talking, oh, I want to get this kit, I want to get this. No, it should be there. A good government is focused, knows what could happen, what can happen, learn from history of what has happened. But it's a fire brigade approach that we have in this country.
As the struggle rages on between Nigerian doctors and the government, the timely resolution of the dispute will be a great relief for the distressing nation, even now that we have Ebola to contend with. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshobo.
President Goodluck Jonathan on Monday met with the country's defense and security chiefs at the presidential villa. The meeting was a closed-door session that had all service chiefs and heads of security agencies in attendance. Also at the meeting were the Ministers of Defense, Police Affairs, Interior and Foreign Affairs. No statement was issued after the meeting, and none of the security and defense chiefs agreed to speak with the media. Presidency sources say the main agenda of the meeting was the ongoing war against insurgency in the country. The Bring Back Our Girls movement is now adopting a different style of protesting against the delay in rescuing the abducted Chibok girls from captivity. The protest group has now moved from the Unity Fountain, venue of its daily sit-outs, and would only reveal its plans at the last minute. The leaders say security personnel have forced them to adopt guerrilla style of protest.
People have things to do and they have to do, and this is an advocacy. It's not a full-time job, so it's when it's convenient for them. So it's not, I'm sure before the end of this protest, you will see that there will be more people here. And of course, because we have to use guerrilla tactics, we don't announce where we are going to appear. So sometimes the message gets out a bit late. So before they meet up with us, it looks like we're few. But I'm sure now that they know where we are, you'll see that a lot more people will be here.
Anyone who feels discouraged, as far as I'm concerned, is no longer living. Because if I put a question to you right now, do you feel safe living in Nigeria today? Do you feel safe? Do you feel safe going to the market? If you're a Christian, do you feel safe going to the church? If you're a Muslim, do you feel safe going to the mosque? Do you feel safe moving on the road? Because bombs are flying everywhere, so nobody feels safe. So it's either we all come out and fight for the security of our lives and properties, which is enshrined in the Constitution. It is enshrined, it is our rights that is enshrined in the Constitution. Then we all will perish.
The number of persons displaced by insurgency in northeast Nigeria is now more than 600,000. The National Commission for Refugees and Internally Displaced Persons disclosed this at a press briefing ahead of the 2014 World Humanitarian Day celebration. Federal Commissioner Hadiza Kangiwa says efforts are in place to ensure that relief support and other humanitarian services are made available to internally displaced persons.
We are still making efforts to see how we could establish our presence in the field so that we are closer to the people that we are supposed to help. You know, the refugee problem is a problem globally. The IDP phenomenon has increased more than ever in the country, and we do have migration. Migration is an issue. It's an issue that it's evolving more and more. We have people who are forced to migrate. We have people who, you know, are migrating for survival.
Has moved one step up from 153 to 152 on the UN Human Development Index for 2013. But in spite of the marginal improvement, the country is still among the lowest ranked countries in the world. Piers Samuel reports that the theme of the latest UNDP report is sustaining human progress, reducing vulnerabilities and building resilience.
There is no doubt that Nigeria has had its fair share of disaster in recent times. This, according to the UN resident coordinator, is premised on lack of preparedness, and it has led to making people vulnerable.
In this background, the report presents two guiding principles. First, universality. Everyone should have a right to education, healthcare, basic services, which locks in development gains, boosts social cohesion, and enhance resilience. This, you will agree, requires solidarity of the haves towards the have-nots.
About 12% of the world's population still suffer from hunger. This means that about 840 million people have no access to food, education, and health care services.
The focus of the report has already mentioned there are two underlying drivers of vulnerability, the low capabilities in health, as well as the inadequate policies that most of the vulnerable is because of the consequences of inadequate policies and institutions which are in place. And then you will be asking who is vulnerable. The report is talking of 2.2 billion with overlapping deprivations in health, education and living standards. As some of you may be aware, these are the three indicators which are in the Human Development Index as a measurement in human development.
The UN says crisis situation around the world has increased the number of displaced persons worldwide to 45 million. But now, the report has come up with a solution to some of the challenges. In all of this, Nigeria is not folding its hand, as efforts are still ongoing to reduce risk of vulnerable communities.
Discussing the ways in which proceedings to a broad group of involved in risk could be strengthened. The report will also be useful for the global debate around the post-2015 development agenda, considering the fact that developmental progress will not be sustainable unless vulnerability is addressed. I'm pleased to note that the 2014 Human Development Report team looked at two concepts, which are both interconnected and immensely important to securing human development progress.
The National Emergency Management Agency NEMA has been working in all the 5 priority areas of the Yoga Framework Action, most especially in the areas of institutional framework for DRR, risk assessment, monitoring and early warning, disaster education and capacity building, as well as preparedness disaster plans, drills, and stakeholder engagement and emergency coordination. NEMA is currently promoting decentralization of DRR activities at all levels with the establishment of zonal and operational offices, establishment of a unit for vulnerable groups, and a department, a full-fledged department of disaster risk reduction to implement the priorities of the Hyogo Framework of Action.
The UN says the report will help decision makers and development actors in Nigeria and other countries lock in development gains through policies which could reduce vulnerability and build resilience to disasters and crisis situations. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Nasarawa State House of Assembly has resolved to petition the National Judicial Council over the role played by the State Chief Judge in the failed bid to impeach Governor Tanko Almakura. The legislators want the NJC to investigate the activities of the Chief Judge Suleiman Diko and also move to punish one of their colleagues. The lawmakers, who sat for the first time in life year since the impeachment saga began, accused the Chief Judge of partisanship and also suspended Tanko Tunga, a member of the Assembly elected on the platform of All Progressives Congress.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for allowing me to present. We have decided that we should, on the rule of law, make sure we follow the Constitution so that because we have agreed that United the rule of law and due process will follow. And under Part 1, Schedule Section 7, Column 20, the formation of the National Judicial Council, its powers and rule of procedures and business. I honor feed this morning and now to craft the indulgence of this distinguished house to agree with me completely and total that there's need that we should write to the National Judicial Council to investigate the activities of the Chief Judge of Nasarawa State under the section I've just mentioned, because we discovered a lot of mistakes and lot of lacunas in setting up the panel to investigate the allegation of misconduct of the gross misconduct of the governor during the impeachment saga. If this agree with my distinguished colleagues, without any expediment, without any delay, we should agree in the resolution of the House to make sure we write to the National Judicial Council within 24 hours, so that let them look at the activities of the Chief Judge of Nasarawa State in order to avoid the breakdown of law and order in Nasarawa State.
The mover of the motion, I will therefore is by this pronouncement suspended from the House of Assembly for a period of 6 months and 3 days without salary. The House should not, but this does not include other allowances of the Honorable Member. This has to do with his statutory salary as enshrined by the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission. All other allowances goes, and I so go.
Determined to have an atmosphere befitting of a mega city, in Lagos State, the state government has amended the law establishing the Urban Renewal Agency. The amendment, according to Governor Babatunde Fashola, will enhance the agency's multi-dimensional approach towards the state's urban renewal. He stressed that the amendment will also enable the agency to continue the ongoing urban and slum regeneration across the state even after his tenure.
We undertook a collaborative project with the World Bank recently, the Lagos Metropolitan and Urban Development and Governance Project, LMDGP. And like all projects of the World Bank, they have limited lifespans. And that project wound up, I believe, late last year. And so some of its uncompleted work will be part of the work that LASURA will also be undertaking. And that is the justification for the requirement for more multidimensional professional capacity within the agency. So apart from the urban renewal and regeneration essence, they are dependent on proper economics, costing, project design, project planning, and project monitoring. So this law gives us that window now to expand the width of the kind of personnel that we can attract there.
And keen on having functional railway system for the country, the Subsidy Reinvestment Program, SURE-P, has commenced technician and maintenance training program for the Lagos-Kano rail line. The program, which kicked off in Lagos, will have over 100 technicians trained to adequately maintain a rail track built to improve the transportation system from Lagos to Kano. Oluwaseyi Adegoke has details of this report presented from our studio.
The Subsidy Reinvestment Program SURE-P is designed to bring back to life the Nigerian railway system and other more-run government agencies, ultimately provide employment for the teeming younger generations of Nigerians. SURE-P launched the training program for technicians and maintenance officers who will be in the employment of the Nigerian railways to adequately manage Lagos-Kano rail track. The Minister of Labour and Productivity says the intervention of SURE-P has created a lot of impact in the lives of Nigerians.
Today we witness the impact the proceeds from the removal have made in various aspects of our economy. Our roads have become more motorable. Our women now have better access to maternal child care. Our rail tracks are getting rejuvenated. The East-West Road is nearing completion. The second Niger Bridge is being done. Lagos-Port Road is being done. And people are being trained all over. More employments are coming, and the country is witnessing a huge monumental change under the transformation agenda of that president.
Chairman Board of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Bamangatopa, opens up on the idea behind the initiative.
To create employment. After you employ, you train. After you train, you engage. When you begin to train, you continue training. We didn't say 1,800 is enough. We are going to train millions, possibly. Not even within the railway system. They are training all over the place. SURE-P is the thing, one of the programs they are having and supporting really.
Chairman of SURE-P, Martin Luther Agwai, assured that there would be more turnaround in the initiative.
I want to assure you that all efforts are in place. Remember that if the railways start functioning, it will generate funds. And once it generates funds, you will need to train. And the more you train, the more proficient you become. Then the railway corridor will be much open, utilization will be higher, the movement of goods and persons will be higher, and there will be more turnaround. So it's going to be sustained, it's quite easily sustainable.
Finally, many who are in doubt as to the sincerity of the federal government to utilize the SURE-P funds to the benefit of the Nigerian populace can now heave a sign of relief, as this is a testimony that the funds will be committed to the development of the country.
Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has released the Health and Safety Code for the newly privatized power sector. The new regulation contains basic provision to prevent hazard arising from installation, operation, or maintenance of equipment of power plants or supply stations. Speaking at the public presentation of the document, Commission Chairman Sam Amadi says the idea is to entrench a safety culture in Nigeria's electricity supply industry.
I would like to say that it should be understood that the development of an effective and efficient electricity market that will provide safe, adequate, and reliable and affordable electricity to Nigerians is hard work. It therefore requires commitment, competence, doggedness, and focus. The Commission is working hard to ensure that the newly privatized power sector quickly rises up to the challenges of providing adequate, safe, and reliable electricity in Nigeria. A strong and independent regulator is therefore important to ensure the development of an effective and efficient electricity market that will promote economic growth for the country.
It's the CoreTV News on the hour. We'll take a break and we'll be back with more. Don't go away.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And now from the sports world, Falconets head coach Peter Dedavo has assured Nigerians that there is no cause for alarm as the team gets set to tackle Korea DPR in the semi-finals of the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup on Wednesday at the Moncton Stadium. Nigeria qualified for the round of 4 after a thrilling 4-1 win over New Zealand in the quarterfinals played on Sunday. Dedavo says the team is preparing hard to face the Korean side. Beginning of quote, the higher you go in football, the harder it becomes. I don't want to leave any stone unturned in the match against Korea. I'm very much aware that the Koreans are fast on counter-attack, and that's why the girls were not given a day off. We have to perfect our possession and control as well as make sure we get an early goal which will unsettle them. End of quote. On the tactics to adopt, the gaffer says the first minute of the match will determine the tactics to be employed. I don't want to disclose my strategies. The game will determine how we play, but I want to tell Nigerians that the team is confident and ready to take on any team, he says. Team captain Martin from their semi-final says the players are not looking to underrate their opponent. And it says that the Falconets have been to the semi-finals twice in 2010. They proceeded to the finals before losing out to Germany, while in 2012 they came out third. The match comes up on Wednesday by 9 p.m. Nigerian time. And that's all we have for you for this time. Thank you for watching. Join us again, top of the hour for more. I am Ebunlomo Adekunle.